Good afternoon. We're going to talk about week 10 now, and I swear this is the week that I will be really concise and it will not be 6 minutes. I do need to give you a heads up about grading. I'm grading assignment 3 right now, and I had forgotten to mention earlier in the week that I was off campus Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so I'm a little behind on the grading, but I will have that graded before Monday. So, we're up to reading chapter 9 in the textbook, and we're continuing to talk about evidence. So this time it's how good is the evidence, personal observation, research studies, and analogies. And in particular, I want to talk about research studies and surveys. So when I was speaking with you over the week before spring break or so, several of you are either already working in the medicine field somewhere or want to once you graduate. So I think it's particularly important that you pay attention to the sections that's talking about how to um, understand research studies and how to evaluate them. So I think you'll see this as one of your discussion questions as well, but in particular there's a sort of a chart on page 111 of chapter 9, which gives you some clues for evaluating research studies. It's very important that you understand this. So just think about the damage that was done by the research study that connected autism with the measles vaccine. Okay, and if you were to read this research study, which I urge you to seek out information about it, but you will be appalled at how there were so few subjects in it that I don't know how anyone could have generalized anything out of it. And then think about that people have died. Babies have died because people didn't get their children vaccinated for measles because of a poor research study. So research studies have an enormous impact, and so it's important that if you are in the field of medicine, you understand them. It's also important just for your own general health. So even if you're not going into the field of medicine, that you understand when especially like on the news, they're always reporting something, and at the Mayo Clinic they've done this, that you understand when they're reporting a research study on mice that you can't make this leap that it's going to affect humans totally, that you can read the research study and understand how much can really be applied out to everyone. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit about surveys. So this is where you need to think back to chapter 5, which was the chapter in which we talked about what words or phrases are ambiguous. Because if the survey is worded ambiguously, the results won't make sense because the people taking the survey interpreted the questions differently. So one of this we've done in the library, we just did a survey not that long ago, and I think a couple of you probably even responded to it. But and I'm not saying it's a perfect survey, but we met with the person that designed it, and he talked about how what they do is every 2 years is they look at each question, and they also consider new questions. So new questions before they appear on the survey are tested with a focus group. And what they're doing in that focus group is ensuring that the question that you think you're asking is the one that the people taking the tests are reading. So that kind of probably didn't make much sense. But you want to make sure that what you're asking is what the person taking this test thinks too. That those are in alignment, and so that when you get the responses, you can trust that the question was answered correctly. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind about surveys. So just keep on working. We've got a week of discussion and journal posts coming up, and I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited about this week for whatever reason. So I look forward to reading your comments as always.